In the sidelines, Tom Brady was up in the booth. He is still there, hanging out just to talk to us. Good to see you, TB.
You used to be my hero.
Only my love for you guys could keep me here. Only my love for you guys could keep me here an extra 20 minutes.
Tom, you were feared.
Oh, my God. Is what happens when you become a TV guy. All right, we talked about this game coming in. We talked about the rivalry, how much was on the line today. I'd love to hear your impressions now that you've seen these two teams go at it and how it finished.
Well, it was just a perfect atmosphere. Lambeau, Packers have been playing good football. Bears, no one's been hotter than them. And it was kind of like strength on strength. There was a lot of things the Packers defense did well that kind of mitigated what some of the things that Chicago did well. So last night in our production meeting, we said, I don't know how much of a high-scoring game it's going to be, but both teams got really creative with their scheme. Ben Johnson, I think, did a phenomenal job calling plays for Caleb. The run game, they just pounded it out. But in the end, the home team, the fourth quarter drive by Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, they really made some great plays down the stretch when they needed it. It was an awesome game to cover.
Tom, I'm just going to go right to the headline. Ben Johnson saying we look forward to beating Green Bay 2 times a year. Now listen, you as a player and I as a player, we would never want. We're not going to say those kind of things and put it on the bulletin board. I was shocked with you. And did you see the handshake after the game?
Yeah, I'm sure it was as icy as the temperature. And I think both teams had to go out and buy extra bulletin boards going into the week. There was a lot of material both ways. You got coaches talking smack. I mean, the coaches are like, hey, guys, don't talk smack. No, they're like, screw that. We're saying whatever we want, the two of them. It's just the way it's going to go. And those two young coaches going to be in these programs for a while. We're going to see some great matchups between these teams.
Gronk, you want?
Tom, yeah, you got to toughen up, my man. You got 4 layers of coats on. You're wearing gloves now. You know how many cold games you played in? I'm a little disappointed in you right now. But I got a question. Let's get to the game. That final play call by the Chicago Bears, what did you think about it? You feel like they got a little bit too cute with that play action and throwing it into the end zone when they should have run the ball instead?
I think they were trying to get someone in the flat. It was just a 2-level pattern. Someone in the flat swift, which they took away. So he's kind of forced to throw to Komet. He had him early. He just held on to that ball a little long, and that gave Nixon, who's got a lot of speed, a chance to undercut it. He made a great game-saving play. But I did like the call, allowing Caleb to get onto the perimeter to use his legs. He's done such a good job of that all season long. Give him a little run-pass option. In the end, Green Bay just made the game-winning play.
All right, Tom, well, we're going to do something for you, man. Get out of here. Your teeth are about to start chattering. Get out of here. We appreciate you sticking around for us, man. Great job today, though. We'll see you.
A T-shirt.
We'll see you next week.
See you, man.
Great, guys. Love you guys. I'll see you soon.
All right, buddy.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much for Tom Brady. He called that game up in Green Bay. When we come back, we're going to get the books. And here's how it looks at the moment in the AFC, where the Broncos and Patriots, both 11-2, both riding 10-game win streak. But the Broncos own the tiebreaker and are the #1 seed right now. The Steelers move up into that 4th spot, knocking off the Baltimore Ravens today. And then it's the Bills, Chargers, and Colts in the hunt. The Colts kind of heading the other way, losing 3 straight and having lost their quarterback for the season. And guys, when you take a look at this, first of all, which one were you going to say? I thought you were.
I was, while you were talking, Houston caught my eye. They're playing Kansas City tonight.
Right. Yep.
And I'm thinking, the team we've been talking about defensively is Houston. Mm-hmm. But did you see the way that Jacksonville played today? Pretty doggone impressive. Yeah. So here comes.
Quarterback played well, too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, the one that intrigues me is it's Denver and New England for the top spot. I mean, right now Denver's sitting at 11-2. They've got Green Bay, a hot Jacksonville, and at Kansas City, which could be, you don't know what that game's going to look like. Kansas City could be out of it, but looking to play spoilers. And New England has Buffalo, and Buffalo sent a little message today. We're for real again, and at Baltimore. And you never know what that's going to be. So I think really it's going to be a fascinating couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Pittsburgh. And you called it. I thought you were out of your mind when you said they're going to win the division. But you just might be right.
I might be out of my mind.
You might be out of your mind.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, but that's a good thing because, the way Pittsburgh showed up today, I mean, just to see the excitement, especially after everything that they've been hearing. Yeah, but they've been hearing so much. Mike Tomlin should be fired. Mike Tomlin this.
The team's
and they
bad.
went out there and responded, which goes to show for all you Steelers fans out there, your players play for that coach. And that's very important because there's so many players out there who don't play for their coaches, especially when that coach is on the hot seat.
See him put the belt on?
Yeah. Yeah, he put that belt on like, you know, give me what Rodgers got. Give me some of that.
I like that.
But that was something to watch Pittsburgh go against a good Baltimore team that's had some good moments the last few weeks and show up.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers as well, Michael. They ignored the noise, and they went into a hostile environment in Baltimore. Basically a playoff game this was, and it's always a backyard brawl between these two teams when they play. And a player that stepped up, that needed to finally step up and own like that he's the top dog at the wide receiver position is DK Metcalf. He went for over 140 yards, 7 catches, and that's what you need in big games like that going against your rival, especially on the road.
For those of you that are counting Kansas City out, let me tell you what Kansas City is going through. They've had so much success being in Super Bowl, winning Super Bowls. The players are almost, Howie, they're almost bored a little bit. They want to get to the playoffs, then they jack it up. Tonight,
they're not getting to the playoffs right now. They're 2 games out of the last playoff spot,
Kurt,
and 2 teams in between them.
So, Kurt, you just interrupted me.
He sounds insane. He sounds crazy, but let him finish.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Kansas City wins tonight. All right, Kansas City, if you're counting them out, you're making a huge mistake. They're just anxious to get to the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs.
They're making the playoffs.
And they're going to win tonight.
Well,
they got 3
tonight,
offensive linemen
tonight
out.
they got
Brock,
a tough,
what did I just say? They're going to win.
But tonight they got a tough Houston defense.
Exactly.
It's going to be a challenge, okay?
With
but
3
then
linemen
they have Denver, the second to last game. But they have the Chargers, they have Tennessee, they have Vegas. Those are 3 games that they can win. I look at Kansas City, I don't think of a team that's bored. To be honest with you, I think of a team that's tired.
Ran out of gas.
Every year, these guys are having an extended season.
They've played an additional season plus.
Because they had so much success. Yeah. So after so many years of success, people do get worn down a little bit. Guys, energy wanes a little bit. Now they're trying to pick it up at the end.
You go to work 1 day a week.
One day a week.
They're down 2-3 offensive linemen.
Right.
Well,
versus the best defense in football, arguably.
And what has made you believe the Kansas City we've seen through 12 games is going to turn things around?
Because his wife is a Kansas City Chiefs.
I think people also look back in the last 6 years. That's not this team this season.
I talked about them being out 2 tackles. Their Smith, their right guard, is out.
Yeah.
But you know what, folks? They also have Andy Reid, and I believe in Andy Reid like I believe in Mike Tomlin. Listen, I am not crossing them off until they're done.
Let's move on from Kansas City because the team that I think people don't talk about, the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
They're the #1 seed right now. They've won 10 straight games, and yet we keep talking about New England or maybe Kansas City or maybe Houston.
They've got Green Bay at home, albeit. They've got Jacksonville at home, and they're at Kansas City. And once again, that Kansas City game could be Kansas City playing spoiler. That could be Kansas City in desperation mode, looking to make the playoffs. So they've got 3 really tough weeks.
And you got to give Sean Payton a lot of credit. I mean, and not only, you think of Sean Payton, you think of an offensive coach, which he really is, but offensive struggle. And this team is still the #1 seed
you
because
better not struggle when you get into the playoffs.
No,
Jack,
but what I'm saying is this team is a team. It's not just. I'm not, I want to
not Jack.
That. Call me Jack. Whatever, man. I'm the worst. But this is
funny.
For an offensive coach to have a defensive-led team, if they can get that offense on track going into the playoffs, Denver is a serious.
The quarterback, if he could just turn the corner here a little bit down the stretch, get hot like he did last year. He got hot last year at the end of the year. If he can do that, that defense is great.
All right, let me see what he did today. Bo Nix,
they're not a flashy offense, Terry.
Yeah.
They got to do a lot more going into the playoffs. And if they want to win those big games going deep into the playoffs, they got to become flashy on the offensive side of the ball. They got to take chances. They got to throw those deep balls. They got to use Bo Nix to the most potential that he could possibly, establish himself as a quarterback and use his strengths to, their advantages. Yes, their defense is going to play well, but that offense needs to step the run game. They got to figure out how to score in the red zone as well. You got to score points in the playoffs to win.
Sean's running the football, 152 yards rushing today. You know what? Take that every week, right?
Yep.
Their quarterback over 200 yards passing, 31 for 38. No interceptions, no touchdowns. That's good. That's good, solid offensive football.
But 31 completions for 212 yards. That's dink and dunk offense.
Exactly. They got to become
That's
more
ball
flashy.
control offense.
It's not me. It's not me, Bub.
They got to get a
It's not
spark.
exciting.
It's not me, Bub.
Yes.
All right, so let's switch over to the NFC and take a look at the NFC playoff picture right now, because here's a team that may have straightened things out. The Rams are currently the #1 seed. They have won 7 of their last 8. I know they stumbled last week, but they're still as hot as anybody in the conference. And the Packers, with that win, not only take over the North, but they move over into the #2 spot right now, while the Eagles and Bucks seem to be just trying to figure out who they are going down the stretch. Keep in mind the Seattle Seahawks, only because they're trailing the Rams in the tiebreaker right now, and they still play again later this season. They're the top wild card team, with the 49ers and Bears still hanging in there. And the Bears went from the #1 seed all the way down to #7 with that one loss. Again, there's still more time left in the season here. But how I want to start with this Rams team. We saw them lose last week to Carolina. You said, yeah, maybe a game that they kind of overlooked. They certainly straightened themselves out today with a blowout win at Arizona.
I don't think there was any question that they were going to turn. Sean McVay, if you spent 5 minutes with Sean McVay, you're fired up, you're ready to go. For whatever reason, Carolina, as Terry talked about earlier today, they went down there on the road, and I think they assumed that they were going to just throw their uniforms out there and, out there and play, and they got punched in the mouth, and they, particularly on defense, I thought, and uncharacteristically, a couple of turnovers and by Matt Stafford, one on the out pass and one on it went off the defensive lineman's helmet.
And a fumble.
And they had a fumble. I think them bouncing back is not surprising. It's the games that, they've got Detroit coming up, and I think that December 18th game versus Seattle at Seattle could determine the division.
Yeah, I mean, today they kind of showed what we expected to see last week, but we've kind of seen it pretty much all of this season until last week, is they can defense, got a great defense, can put a lot of pressure on the quarterback with a lot of young players, but offensively, Puka Nacua, I mean,